Thanks for joining us for another episode of Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. We're back with our NFL Week 4 preview. Can't believe we're at Week 4 already, but here we are. Big week. We've got the first ever NFL regular season game in Dublin, Ireland as well, to highlight this week. And of course, we've got a huge revenge game. That's our cover stars. Can we call Jerry a star? Anyway.
What he would want. The only reason he did the trade.
Yeah. Funny enough, I've just been watching the documentary while I was having my dinner. Right at the point where he fires Jimmy Johnson. So, yeah, always fun. Anyway, we'll talk about Packers Cowboys later. Gents, how are you feeling about heading into Week 4?
Not great for Dallas's prospects, but it should be a really good week for a lot of games, a lot of island games as well, with the Dublin game, Monday Night Football doubleheader. Island, very good. Should be a real good week of football. Can't wait. I love when we start getting the international games in.
Knowing you, I don't believe you did that by accident then, by the way, either. I don't believe.
No, 100% did, yeah. The best puns I do are by accident. The ones I try are diabolical.
Joe, how are you feeling about Week 4?
Yeah, obviously it's the last week before before the buys kick in, so we've got all 32 teams playing. It's usually more. I enjoy the international games when back in Canada because you get up 6 a.m. and then you have football basically until right into the middle of the night. So that's always fun. So it'll be fun out here, and some interesting games again. Some 3-0 teams facing off, and some 0-3 teams facing off. So there's some all records going, and I think it's again, it's important every week, but there's certain teams where you're like, it's now or never.
Yeah, I feel like some teams are facing into the abyss and desperately need a win in Week 4. And I think we can already start dismissing some teams from kind of January considerations after this week. Shall we start? Let's start with no guest this week, so we're just going to kind of rattle through our preview. And there's only one place to start. It's the NFL Dublin game. First game in Dublin, Ireland, as mentioned. And we've got some lovely emerald and orange on the screen, of course, as well to back that up. But it's the Minnesota Vikings traveling. I mean, as the Steelers are as well, but it's a road game for the Vikings taking on the Steelers. Vikings are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is 41. Dublin duel on the Emerald Isle. Ireland hosts its first NFL regular season game as the Steelers host the Vikings at the home of GAA, Croke Park. Just seen some pictures from Croke Park today around like how they're setting up the stadium, getting everything in. It looks absolutely majestic in Dublin. 76,000 people due to be there on Sunday. So it should make for a fantastic one. It's going to be a huge Pittsburgh Steelers home game, I think, just due to the links of Steelers in Ireland and, kind of how much attention they've been putting on generating fans in Ireland. So we'll almost feel like it's in Pittsburgh. So they're going to have that home edge still. How are you guys seeing this one's going to go? We've got 2-1 teams facing off.
Yeah, interesting matchups, to be sure. No JJ McCarthy, obviously it's Carson Wentz in for the Vikings. I think the key aspect of this, though, I think the strongest unit on the field is going to be the Minnesota Vikings defense, who generate pressure at the second best rate in the NFL, and which quarterback is worse in the NFL when pressured? That's right, Aaron Rodgers. I think that's going to be kind of the key matchup of this game. Can Pittsburgh hold up against this Brian Flores defense, who are getting pieces back? Obviously, we've seen Van Ginkel and Harrison Smith come back last week. If they can get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, I think the Vikings take care of business relatively comfortably, unless Carson Wentz melts down, which I don't think is fair to assume he will. I think he showed enough last week that he can be a game manager and he can take care of business. So I think the Vikings win this game. We'll get to our bets in a moment, I'm sure, but I think this isn't a good matchup for Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh are very lucky to be 2-1, truthfully. I think they've kind of, 5 turnovers against New England last week. And, you get that insane turnover look at recovering all them fumbles. And then against the Jets, week 1, again, I think very fortunate to have won that game. Could have easily went the other way. And, blown out by Seattle. So, I think Minnesota are rightly favorites for this game, even though technically a road game with the Steelers fans, and obviously it's a road game for both teams, really. But the Steelers do have the fans in the stadium at least. But yeah, I fancy Minnesota in this week.
Yeah, and how surprising it as well, where the Vikings come with a ginger quarterback, and you thought the Irish were backing one of their own, but unfortunately not. I don't know if you saw there was like a crazy stat of Vikings with ginger quarterbacks the last 2 years. Kevin O'Connell, it was like 18-3 with Darnold and Wentz or something crazy like that. So might have the look of the Irish there. But yeah, I'm similar with Byron. I'm leaning the Vikings. I think the two teams of the Steelers have been like in a 3-game stretch of both poor teams. When you look at the Patriots and the Jets, they're not the teams who we thought they were. And yeah, just looking at, you saw the Jets, you saw the Seahawks run all over them and be able to pass on them as well. So I think this Vikings team, if Wentz doesn't cause, just plays a solid game, which I think looking back at that Bengals game, I think he had a solid game. I know they scored plenty of points, but it was really on the defense and how they controlled that game. So I think if he just doesn't make mistakes, I think the one good thing about it, though, that I think if he does make a mistake early on, I don't think the Steelers team are going to blow them out and punish them constantly. So I think they're always going to keep it tight. I think the Vikings, I think they're going to get after Rodgers. I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on him. It's when we think of the Steelers, the last 2 years we've been praising how well that offensive line's been coming together and the pieces they've got. But this year it's not quite there, and it's with Rodgers not being able to escape the pocket as he used to could do, yeah, it's I think it's gonna be a tough time. And I think the biggest question, which we always ask about international, is it a fast track, Paul?
Is it a fast track? Well, we don't know. We've no evidence to suggest, whether it's fast track or not. But no doubt, when there's a game there next year, I'll be using the outcome of this Sunday's game to hype up whether it's a fast track or not. Quite like it, Spurs. It looks pristine, and the weather's been good all week. I think there's due to be some heavy rain in Ireland, Dublin specifically, through Saturday, but then Sunday is due to be a very nice, mild, sunny autumn afternoon. I guess for there, it's probably going to feel like quite a warm day in Dublin. Dublin at the end of September at 16, 17 degrees and sunny. It's not something you'd usually get. So, I think it'd be good conditions. I'm the opposite to you two, which is probably good news for the Vikings fans, because if we're all on the Vikings, that's the death knell for them. I've been charmed by Pittsburgh with a plus symbol again.
Mike Tomlin as an underdog.
Mike Tomlin is an underdog. Bit different this time, I think, with the elements of the game. But I was just looking at the line going, well, the Vikings, obviously they handed the Bengals their worst ever loss last week, but the Vikings were only 3-point favourites last week. Are the Steelers only half a point better than the Bengals? I think not. So I think this one's going to be a lot closer. I've got a bit of faith that the Steelers are going to come up with a plan to be able to try and slow down the pass rush a little bit. I know nobody has almost done that for the Vikings, but I think you have to have a really, really good running game, the Steelers, to have success in this one, and not completely rely on Rodgers. But if you have a good running game, it might slow down that pass rush a little bit, and then buy some time for Rodgers. I think the Steelers can keep it close. I do think it's going to be a low scoring game. I'm also expecting a bit of regression. Not regression in terms of, I don't think the Vikings are going to force the turnovers that they did against the Bengals last week, which made that game get out of hand. And I think Steelers have got to be looking to really, really upset Carson Wentz. You've got to be good against the run. You can't let Jordan Mason take over the game and have a huge game like he did last week. And TJ Watt, we talked about it last week, got his first sack in 8-9 games or whatever it was last week. I think TJ Watt's going to be Carson Wentz hunting, and TJ Watt could have a big day, and be one of them games where it's him on his own that kind of drags the Steelers to a win. And it needs to be at the minute, because there's still no Highsmith. He's going to be out again, hopefully back soon. But yeah, I've just got a funny feeling the Steelers, with kind of the vast majority of that 76,000 people at Croke Park behind them, I think it's going to be enough to get them over the line. I've taken them plus the 2.5. Just a few bits on this one. So obviously we always talk, and we have done over the last kind of 2 to 3 years on this show, about how we love the Steelers as an underdog, because historically they've been so good when they've been plus points. Well, recently, not so good. They're 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 as an underdog, after going 7-1 ATS in their previous 8 as an underdog. The under is 4-1 in the Steelers' last 5 games as an underdog. I was close to going the under as well, but I've just gone with the Steelers on this one. And also, the Vikings have the best international series record in the history of the NFL. They're 4-0 straight up. Minnesota have not lost an international series game as yet. So
Vikings famously well-traveled in history.
Yeah. Hopefully not too many antics in this one. Yeah.
Can I ask you, obviously we haven't talked about Jordan Addison being back. Did that not sway you with like getting an extra weapon in there and not relying on Naylor and others to be their secondary catcher?
Might open things up as well for Justin Jefferson, who hasn't been going off to the rate that we normally see him, which defense have been able to hone in on him a little bit more without the threat of Addison. And yeah, Addison's not a huge fan of Jordan Addison, and that could maybe open things up a little bit. But yeah, I'm just going to take the Steelers in the points. I think it's going to be low scoring. I would have loved to have been 3.5 if I'm being greedy, but I think it's going to be real low scoring, so I'm just going to take the Steelers in the points. Excellent. Byron?
Yeah, I've gone Wentz and Rodgers to both throw an interception. Wentz, it just feels like he's always likely. Aaron Rodgers thrown 3 in his last 2 games, 6 in his last 5 games. It's not Aaron Rodgers anymore, of old, clearly. He's 40-plus years old. Minnesota are going to get pressure on him. I think if he tries any of those little screeny dump-offs to Jaylen Warren, maybe can we get odds on Andrew Van Ginkel getting a touchdown? No, we can't. But we can get a bet on the Vikings defense, which might be worth a play. Between Isaiah Rodgers and Andrew Van Ginkel, you've got maybe 2 better pass catchers than Aaron Rodgers has on his own team. So, yeah, I just like them both to throw an interception here. I think, like you say, Carson Wentz, TJ Watt is going to be chasing him like a big pot of gold all game. And, yeah, Rodgers is always likely to throw one. So, yeah, 13-5 for them both to throw an interception, nearly 3-1, which I think that's a nice price.
Excellent. Joe, you want to share your bet and throw in any more Ireland puns while you're at it?
Yeah, not many more. I've got Jordan Mason 2+ touchdowns. I think I'm going to lean on him. I think, especially these international games when they are traveling, I think the run game is massive. Just a different climate and just getting it going. And I think with Carson Wentz, they're not going to want him to throw 25, 30 balls. They want to keep it on the ground. So I've got Jordan Mason 2+ touchdowns, 11-2. Another one I was looking at, again, the odds are not there right now, which is slightly annoying, is Van Ginkel and TJ Watt to both get a sack, because I can see that happening. Or Van Ginkel more than, I was hoping for like 2 or 3 market of sacks, but he wasn't quite there as well. So that'll be something I'll be looking on game day. But I think, yeah, another big game for Jordan Mason.
Mason has 2 touchdowns on the season already, so you're going to be hopeful that number is doubling.
Yeah, God. Part of the problem of recording a show 3 days ahead of the games, isn't it? That sometimes some of the markets aren't available. I just brush past that, not acknowledging it. Right. Any more for Steelers Vikings in Dublin? No doubling down on that. Excellent. Right. Let's go to the Sky Sports early game. It's the Eagles, 3.5-point favorites at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Over under is 43.5. Somebody's O has got to go. Bucs eye statement win. 2 top undefeated NFC teams clash with the Eagles, looking to continue their march to a repeat, with the Bucs looking to ruffle some feathers. Tough one. I think this one where we're at, the Bucs just feel like they are so banged up. But I don't know, are we hopeful that some Wirfs and or Godwin are back for this one?
Godwin practiced fully yesterday, Wednesday. So that bodes well. I don't know how well it bodes for him to actually come in and play 100%, though. And with Mike Evans out, it's going to be a big second performance from somebody. If we say Egbuka is going to be wide receiver 1 this week, Cade Otton, obviously Jalen McMillan is out long-term. Sterling Shepard is maybe your wide receiver 2 until Godwin's up to speed. Cade Otton, like I just said. Bucky Irvin's going to have a lot of workload. Maybe Rashad White gets a bit more usage out of the passing game. Yeah, it's a rough group this week, it feels like, for Tampa.
Yeah, how do you kind of see the game go? Obviously, Philly survived last week with obviously the Jordan Davis field goal return. Survived but covered. And the Bucs similarly gave up one of those late on, but found a way to kind of win a game again on a last drive from Baker Magic. How do you feel this one's going to play out?
I really like the Eagles to put the foot down here and progress on from that second half against the Rams. I think Elijah Cansey being out is a big, big loss for the Buccaneers. He's out the rest of the season, I'm pretty sure. Gives that interior of the Eagles offensive line a big matchup, obviously, against Vita Vea, but it's easier to handle Vita Vea than Vita Vea and Elijah Cansey. I think Saquon Barkley gets going this week as well. He's had 3 games under 100 rushing yards for the first time as an Eagle. I think they're going to have him be front and center this week. AJ Brown got off the snide last week. I think this is a week for Saquon Barkley to get going. I think you use the word survive there. I think that's kind of what the Bucs' MO has been this season. You know, the Bucs could be 0-3 and couldn't have a huge amount of complaints. They are 3-0, but yeah, I think this is a week where it catches up with them a little bit. I think Eagles team are having their own injury issues, to be fair. Nolan Smith went on IR earlier in the week, which came kind of a bit out of nowhere. Jared Campbell, Zach Bourne didn't practice yesterday. I presume they'll both play, but not a great start to the week. But yeah, I just think even if Tristan Wirfs and Godwin play, they're both obviously not hitting the ground running, fitness-wise, you would assume. And if Wirfs doesn't play, that all line for the Bucs is a bit of a mess, truthfully. So I do worry about that. The one thing I do think we can't forget for the Bucs, though, since Jalen Hurts entered the league, the Bucs are 4-1 against Jalen Hurts. He is otherwise 53-16 against the rest of the NFL. And Todd Bowles seems to have his number. He gets pressure on him. And like all quarterbacks, he doesn't perform as well under pressure. But I think that's why it's going to be a big Saquon game. I think whether it's dump-offs or, RPOs, I think getting Saquon involved often and early is going to be key for the Eagles seeing this one out.
Yeah,
I was going to say I've gone the opposite. I'm leaning the Bucs. I think it's going to actually be a tight game. I think, the injuries, which you've mentioned, but with the Eagles as well. And it's like their defense and pass rush has not been what it was last year. They've only got 3 sacks on the year. So, you give Baker time, especially with some of the weapons he has got, Egbuka. And they said if you see what Godwin can do and how Bucky Irvin's been performing, I think they can keep it close. And I think it's in the DNA of the Bucs team to keep it close. I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on Hurts. They're going to blitz him a lot. I think they're the team which can stop the Eagles' run game just with the big lads in front. I think Yaya Diaby is having a great year, but he's obviously next to Vita Vea, who, as most years, year in, year out, is one of the best defensive tackles. So, and obviously got the big lad, called him back up after he lost a bit of weight. So they're probably going to be trying to stop that run. So I think they're going to keep it close. Apparently it's going to be really hot in Tampa as well. Obviously that could be a factor if you're not used to that. So I don't know which team I'm leaning to win, but I think it's only going to be 1 or 2 points. And we say that, and that's when Jordan Davis blocks a field goal and just takes it back to get a nice cover for the Eagles.
Yeah, speaking of losing weight, Jordan Davis is in hella shape.
Yeah. Moves quick for a 330-pound man. I'm with you, Byron. I think this is one where Saquon goes off. I think the Eagles just ground and pound, tight, big, I think a big advantage in time of possession and just grind the Bucs down. I think we might see that the Eagles get the benefit of that in the second half. I think that's kind of where we're going to go. This might be close kind of to halftime or early in the third quarter, but that's where I think maybe the Eagles will just start to pull away. You've covered one of my stats in this one, but Eagles have gone 6-1 straight up and against the spread in the last 7 road games. Pretty good on the road. Bucs recently at home, not been great. 0-3 against the spread in the last 3 games at home. I'm going with the Eagles as my bet. So we've got the Eagles and we've got under 44.5. Is that from the Rams last week or is that what's on the sheet? Feel like that might be me who just left it in, or if I put it in.
There's 43.5 at the top of the sheet, so
so obviously, Eagles minus 3.5 is my bet. 10 to 11. I just fancy the Eagles to be dominant in this one, and like I say, I think they'll just pull away through the second half. Byron,
I've gone a bit more heavy on the Eagles. Then minus 3.5. I've got the Eagles minus 9.5. I think once this game gets out a hand, I think they just keep the foot on the gas. And like I say, I think big Saquon week, keep pounding. Eagles minus 9.5 to win by 10 or more points, 2-1.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I've got Eggbooker anytime touchdown scorer, a 3-2. I say every week they're going to target Dante Jackson and whoever the second cornerback is, and it didn't quite work out with Devonta with 2 TDs, even though he was there for the winning. But yeah, I think they're going to target and probably try and get that matchup for the Bucks. And if he's the main guy with Evans being out, I do like the odds there 3-2.
We need another YouTube stripe having Steve Winwood, Valerie played in the background of this recording. I think so. Excellent. Any more on Bucks Eagles before we move on to the Sky Sports late game? No. Excellent. Right. Ravens Chiefs. This is huge. Ravens are 2.5 point favorites. Over under 48.5. Are the Ravens ready to rule the kingdom? Ravens have fallen just short in recent clashes with the Chiefs in what feels like must win for both. Can Baltimore get over the hump in a big one? Quick one. Someone's going to end up being 1-3 here to start the season. Which one of them is that more damaging for if that happens?
I think based on the division, it has to be the Chiefs. I think even at 1-3, I'd probably still. The division's pretty soft. Weirdly, in the AFC North, I think the Steelers aren't contenders. I don't think the Bengals are Joe Burrow contenders, and I don't think the Browns are contenders. I'm not totally sold the Ravens are at this point, but I think if the Chiefs are 1-3, and potentially 3 games back of the Chargers, 2 games back of the Broncos, I think that's tougher to overcome than whatever the Ravens would be behind. Whomever would be leading the division. Sorry, I don't have the numbers up in front of me, but I think it'd be more damaging for the Chiefs for that reason alone.
Yeah, we kind of both in all our previous said that kind of these teams had really tough starts to the season and could be in a similar situation. I think I was sort of saying that the Ravens could have 3 or 4 defeats before week 6 or 7, and that's kind of where they're at. I think whoever goes 1-3 here is going to be my team that I bet on to win the Super Bowl and try and cash out later on. Chiefs have got it a bit tougher though. I think the Ravens, if it's the Ravens, they've got a bit of an easier run the next few weeks and can probably stack some wins, maybe. Whereas the Chiefs have still got a few more difficult games. But whichever one of these goes 1-3, I'm going to say out there, I'm going to back them in obviously much better odds to win the Super Bowl, and we'll see if we can cash out and make some money on them. Just obviously we didn't do an overtime episode, so we're not talked about Monday Night Football, but this is another one of them spots for the Ravens in a big game against a better opponent in terms of the Chiefs. I know maybe we're not as high on the Chiefs as we usually would be. Are we in a position where we just fully cannot trust Baltimore in these big games?
Totally, definitely. The Ravens are a word I don't think I'd ever used about the Baltimore Ravens before. The Ravens are soft. They are appalling against the run. Nnamdi Madueke is out with a neck injury. Being out with his neck injury is getting a second opinion. John Harbaugh felt he wasn't permitted to comment on the status of it. None of that sounds good. Neck injuries in general not good, obviously, for any professional player, but especially like a defensive tackle who's going to be getting that neck banged an awful lot. But they are just they're soft. I can't think of another way to say it. They are the 30th worst or 30th ranked rush defense in the league this year, 32nd in rush touchdowns. They allowed 2 95-plus yard drives for touchdowns this week. That is the first time they've allowed one since. I'm getting ready for number 1 drop here. The last time that happened was October 6th, 2002 was the last time they allowed 1. And I know what you're wondering.
Number 1.
What was UK number 1? October 6th, 2002.
October 2002. October 6th.
Title for what the stat is. I'll give you that little clue.
Sorry, we didn't hear you mic go out for a second then, sorry.
Me? Oh, sorry. The title of the song is very apt for what the stat is, I would say.
Is it Crazy Frog? Axel Foley.
It is not Crazy Frog, no.
Oh, is it Crazy?
It is not crazy either. It's more specific to the actual stat itself. So, 95 plus
drive related?
No.
No?
Just want to guess at the general thing. It's a duet. 2 male singers.
Would it not be Gareth Gates and Will Young, would it?
Oh, it certainly would. The long and winding road.
There you go.
Will Young and Gareth Gates did a duet.
That's what it's listed as here. I think it's a
Beatles
double
cover,
A-side, in fact.
Yeah. I do remember it.
Yeah, I think it maybe was just Will Young, but it's listed as Will Young and Gareth Gates because Gates done a B-side of Elvis, apparently. I don't really remember any of these. I'm just going on the data sheet here. But yeah, that was the last time the Ravens allowed a 95-plus yard touchdown drive. They allowed 2 on Monday to the Lions. The Ravens are just soft. I love getting the Chiefs at plus money, and I don't love the Chiefs. But in their own building, plus money. The Ravens have actually been favored twice in their history going into Arrowhead. They are 2-0, but 0-2 against the spread in those meetings, scoring a total of 15 points in those games, with Kansas scoring a total of 9 points in those games. So let's hope we have a better game than those two.
Yeah, well, we'll flip onto our bets then, because that's a nice link. Because I've gone the over. I've gone over 48.5. I'm expecting there to be points in this one. I just kind of think, I'm hoping we're going to get Worthy back this week. Yeah. That feels like we're getting Worthy back, so that's good. We saw a little bit more pushing the ball down the field from the Chiefs. And ultimately, this Ravens defense is terrible. I think, to your point, soft, but just awful. They've given up 96 points already, and that's across 3 games, 32 points a game. And they've just been horrible in these big game sort of spots. They just tend to just be really porous. Should see Worthy back and Chiefs open up a little bit more. Not quite expecting like the Bills or Lions level of shootout that we've had from the Ravens so far, but I know the Ravens can get to 30 pretty quickly and pretty comfortably usually. So can the Chiefs keep it close? I think they will. Over 48.5. I also just think Baltimore have got to win one of these games. They've just got to win one of these games where, it's the big game, even if it's on the road, they've just got to get one. Because I think if the noise around, if they go 1-3, will be crazy, I think. Already saw some insane fired John Harbaugh things, which is just crazy, I think. But obviously, they've got some problems. They've got some Derrick Henry short yardage problems. Got some Derrick Henry goal line problems and Derrick Henry fourth quarter fumbling problems, which I'm sure will sort themselves out.
I thought we might have a Derrick Henry concussing himself problem trying to get onto the bench the other night, but thankfully he seems to be fine.
Yeah, not good. Just obviously sheer frustration. I feel that one. I don't think that fumble was necessarily on him. It's just a great play from Aiden Hutchinson, that play, isn't it? I think that one's harsh to kind of just pin that on Derrick Henry because he was past him. Like Hutchinson just came from behind, perfect punch.
I think the thing is though, when you're somebody like Derrick Henry, anything against you is your fault because you're Derrick Henry. I'm not saying like that's how we should view him. I think that's how he views him. Like I think he if he fumbles the ball, it's his fault because he's Derrick Henry.
Yeah. He's already got more fumbles this season already than some full seasons that he's had. So we're only 3 weeks in. So I'm sure that'll rectify itself. And I'm just thinking the over. I think Lamar is going to get much.
I was going to say what's crazy if he doesn't fumble them. This could be a 3-0 team. Most definitely a 2-1 team. Probably the Bills want to come back with that fumble as well. So it's just like the little things with the Ravens right now.
Yeah. They need to get him. Cool. Byron.
Yeah, the Chiefs aren't the best running attack in the league. Pacheco hasn't looked great for a long time. But if you're going to give me 70-plus rushing yards for the RB1 against this Baltimore running attack at 6-1, I'm going to have a little piece of it.
The question is he the RB1? Is he not Mahomes?
Yeah, I think he's the RB1. Yeah, he might not be the best rusher, but he's the RB1. And I think they're just going to. There's going to be situations where they do pound the rock here, and it might only be 1 or 2 big plays to get 70. This Ravens running defense is so bad that I've been out on Pacheco for a while, but I still think 70-plus yards is well within his reach. Picture like this, and 6-1, I think is a bit of a crazy price, briefly. I'll just bet not to like 3-1. So, I'll take 6-1 on that.
Well, I'm guessing because he's got 92 yards in 3 games so far, so he'll be nearly.
Yeah, he had to play this Ravens defense though.
True, but yeah, true. So my bet, I've got Lamar Jackson 50 plus rushing yards at 5-4. I think he's going to be scrambling a bit. I had my say in this game, but I've leaned the Ravens. I think in terms of how the overall, I think if the Ravens lose this, like we've seen the Ravens be 0-3, get down this low and able to come back and fix defensive issues. I think we were here last year and the defense couldn't stop anything the first 4 or 5 weeks, and they turned it around. The Chiefs I'm worried about just because it's just been putrid. Even like the win it didn't feel like a win, like a satisfying win. It was just a struggle, and it was 1 or 2 big plays by Thornton near the end against a Giants defense which had just given up all them points to the Cowboys. And so I worry for them. Obviously getting Worthy back and Rice eventually in a few weeks, that'll be their true understanding. But if we're going to talk about the Chiefs can run all over this Ravens defense, then that offensive line for the Chiefs have not worked so far. They're having issues, they're having penalties just non-stop. And I think Simmons started the first game, seemed well, but the last couple of games, he's been okay. He's been like a rookie, but he's not the savior which everyone was promised in the off season. So I think if the Ravens can get right, it could be against this O-line, and the only I think the guaranteed is I think the Ravens is going to put at least 25 to 30 points up, because I think that offense, no matter what, another 1 and 2, but that offense has been great all games. Without them Henry fumbles, Lamar Jackson's still been playing at a quality level. So can the Chiefs keep up with this Ravens team? I think they probably can, because it's the Chiefs, and we know what happens with the Ravens. But I want Lamar just to take this game on himself, and I think he's going to get plenty of rushing yards and him and Henry all day long and try and run it on this Chiefs, because I don't think the defense has been as good as well as it has been the last few years. So if it's not now for the Ravens to beat the Chiefs, it's a bit like, when will it be? So I'm leaning the Ravens.
Excellent. Right. Let's move on to the game that I've very much been looking forward to talking about. It's Sunday Night Football. It's the Green Bay Packers, 7-point favorites, heading to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. The over-under is 47.5. I think that's where the line is. Yeah, 47.5. Parsons back to sack Dak. Micah returns to DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth. Less than a month after the saga concluded, Parsons returns to feast on a weakened Cowboys O-line. Can Dallas stop Micah from wrecking the game? I know the answer to that question already, but I'll hand it over to you guys.
Revenge game.
Certainly is.
Oh, Byron, Mike. Right, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I'll go along. Yeah, I worry for the Cowboys in this game. I think the Packers, just what happened last week against the Browns, I think that can help a team in the long run. And I think if they'd gone 3-0, had a comfortable win against the Browns, the Cowboys could have cashed them cold. But I think they're going to be coming into this with something to prove, especially on offense. And I think that Browns defense, especially home, is going to give a lot of teams trouble. And this Cowboys defense is not giving anyone trouble. It's the only person who's troubling is the scorekeeper, having to keep racking up the points for the other team. So I think that this Packers offense is going to do damage. I think we always joke like with the Jordan Love, what happened in the playoffs a few years ago. I think something similar could happen. I do worry about the DBs with the Cowboys. I know Diggs is coming back on that injury, but it wasn't great. I don't know if you saw Talib's analysis on Underdog, because someone was saying, it was all about Ben Johnson scheming this up, and he was like, no, this is the worst defense in the league. I think they showed that flea flicker play where the DB, started running in, and he said it's the opposite to what you do, and just they had a touchdown where it was wide open. So I do worry for Dallas defense. And on the opposite side, I'm a big Dak fan, but you've not got CeeDee Lamb. Half your all lines down, and you can Michael Parsons, who you might say that it's going to hurt him if with all these sacks and he's playing against his mates. He's going to want to stick it to Jerry Jones. He's going to want to at least get 2 or 3, have a nice celebration in Dallas to show what they actually missed. So I think they might go off on this Dallas offense just with the added revenge to it all, but also that this Dallas offensive line is going to be struggling with all that injuries. So 7 points is a lot, but I'm definitely leaning the Packers. I think this could be a blowout where it's a huge national story how bad the Cowboys are.
Yeah, I'm hoping because we're all on the Packers that means that we get it wrong and it's the Cowboys. But yeah, that's not happening. Just on that note, you mentioned it kind of about what was reported about what Micah Parsons said. I like him, by the way, the premier NFL insider, but Adam Schefter can go fuck himself because what he posted and put out the other day is the headline for that story. Just clickbait, horrible journalism. And I appreciate, is he really a journalist? I don't know. It feels like I'm really going at Schefter here, but yeah, he's insider. But just that, it's going to be painful piece to pitch it as, oh yeah, Parsons is really going in for violence and revenge. That's not what he said. That was taken so far out of context. It was unreal. Even so that the guy who actually did the interview didn't realize, it got back to him that that's what Schefter had done with the quotes, and he wasn't very happy about it. Not cool, Adam Schefter, go fuck yourself. But yeah, it is going to be. I think it's going to be bad. It's going to be painful. I think the Cowboys are going to be in a position again in that secondary where they still don't get Diggs and Bland on the field together because Bland's coming back, and it sounds like Diggs might be out. He's been on the injury report this week. He's not been practicing with a shoulder injury. Bland's due to come back. Cowboys need to just keep Kyer Elam off the field. He is just he's just an accident waiting to happen multiple times a game. And yeah, very, very worried for the O-line. Booker's out injured. Obviously already Cooper Bebe missing. And that Packers front, I think he's just going to absolutely run wild. Just a couple of bits before we've hopefully got Byron back on the mic. Packers are 9-1 straight up in their last 10 games against the Dallas Cowboys. The one loss was in Dak Prescott's rookie season. The Cowboys beat him in Lambeau in 2016. It's been that long since the Cowboys beat the Packers. The last 5 meetings have all hit the over with no score, no game being less than 58 points. And the last 7 meetings in Dallas have hit the over. Packers have won 5 in a row in Dallas, going 5-0 against the spread. Byron, your thoughts on the game? Or were you just purposely being quiet because you don't want to talk about the massacre that's about to happen?
No, I just didn't want to interrupt you and Joe's great coverage. Green Bay have won every single visit to AT&T Stadium. They are 5-0 since the stadium opened. Dallas's last win at home against Green Bay was November 29, 2007. I'm not going to make you guess what the song was. We've already done our number one piece. But if it's going to be as violent and aggressive as Adam Schefter thinks it's going to be, then the number one would be fitting because it's Leona Lewis, Bleeding Love. And in Canada and Australia, it was Timbaland, it's too late to apologize, which I think is how the Cowboys fans feel about Jerry Jones right now. And he's not going to apologize anyway. I think it's a bloodbath. Dallas are in no way equipped to take this fight. All line's a mess. The entire defense is a mess. The secondary is appalling. Dallas, just not equipped to take this fight on. I think a very comfortable win for coming up for Green Bay. Jordan Love will get to show off again because he's playing a bad team who aren't going to get pressure on him. Yeah, comfortable one for Green Bay, unfortunately, I think, coming up.
Can I ask, over or under 10.5 shots to Jerry Jones during the game?
10 is quite high, actually. I'll take the under just. If you give me like a 6.5, I'll probably go over there.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is over, in fact. Every Parsons pressure.
Yeah, every time Parsons gets in the backfield, which is going to be a lot. It's going to be an awful lot. I'm very much the line. I'm Parsons' multiple sack game, I think, is where I'll be laying a bet at some point towards Sunday. But let's go to our bets. Yeah, under 47.5, I've gone for. I think this might be one where the Cowboys just don't really score, might be held to like 3, 10, something like that. And the Packers, I don't know if they could go the full humiliation route. I think they might just stop it, once they're kind of 3 or 4 scores ahead and just slow it down a little bit. Maybe do the ultimate embarrassment of like fourth quarter with Malik Willis in the game, sort of. sort of thing. That's where I'm at. I think there's been so many of these games that have been over. I think there's an under one due. I'm just worried. I just don't think the Cowboys, they are going to have to lean on this offense, obviously, a lot, just not for this game. But with no CD Lamb, you become very, very one-dimensional again in terms of having to kind of push things to Pickens. And then he's not quite the take over a game player that CD Lamb is. And then, you're getting a lot out of Jalen Tolbert. Jake Ferguson was great last week, but a lot of volume, you're not getting very far, which I suppose the issue is. And I think as good as Javonte Williams has been, the more banged up this whole line gets, the more difficult it's going to be to run the ball. And I think they're going to struggle doing that as well. So I've gone under on this one. I just think it's going to be so one-sided that the Packers are going to give up, basically.
Yeah, I'll just do my bet next just because it's a similar theme in terms of why it's going to be low scoring. I've got Parsons and Gary both to record a sack at 9-5. Rashawn Gary is the leading sack defender right now with 4.5 sacks. He's got a sack in every single game. And I think he's just going to do the same again against the Cowboys because this Packers defense, when you look at the whole season, the 3 games have had 3 great games. Like the Browns obviously scored a touchdown because Jordan Love threw an interception and they're on the 5-yard line, I think, and it took them long enough to get in as well. It was a few pass interference calls, which helped them out. And this defense on every level is awesome, especially the front and the linebackers with Cooper and Walker. So I think they're going to get pressure everywhere. And yeah, I'll be shocked if Parsons at least don't get one. And how Gary's been going, then he's going to get one as well. So 9-5 for both of them to get a sack.
Very popular bet of yours so far this season. The double sacks. He bloody loves the double
sacks. Yeah.
Byron.
Yeah, I've gone Matthew Golden to get a touchdown and 50+ receiving yards. Golden's looking more involved by the week. He's due a touchdown. He could have had one against the Browns last week if he hadn't run out of bounds. Could have had 2 against the Commanders the week before if Jordan Love had been just a little more accurate. And as we mentioned, Cowboys can't defend against the pass. Great start from my buddy Jeff Crisco at Football Absurdity. The Washington Commanders are 3rd in the NFL in allowing 55.3 yards per game on 20+ air yard throws. Patriots are 2nd at 70.7 yards per game on 20+ air yard throws. Where do you think Dallas are number 1?
So on 20+ air yard throws, how many yards a game they're giving up or total so far for the season? Sorry.
Per game.
I'm going to go 140.
Pretty much bang on, 138, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely appalling.
Fucking hell.
So, I mean, realistically, this is one play for Matthew Golden, who, again, I wasn't high on coming in, but he has pace to burn. I'm not going to say needs to get a touchdown, but I think that Green Bay would love to get him going. And this is that kind of matchup they can pepper him with targets because I don't think it's going to matter too much what they do on offense. They're going to win the game. So, yeah, I like Golden to get over 50 yards and a touchdown 4-1, that price.
Yeah, excellent. So, yeah, I thought, so just on that, I just messaged you. Obviously, we have 2 bets on our post. I've already put my second one on. I thought that was the one that we was going to share for the show. So apologies. I've got the Packers minus 16.5. Crazy to bet against your own team like that, but they're just that bad. The Packers, we're the get-right game. We're ever going to be everybody's get-right game this season, the Dallas Cowboys. So after kind of fall into the Browns last week, only scoring 10 points, you can, the Packers are going to come roaring back. I've also got Packers minus 16.5, 3-1.
Is it going to be Packers win by 16, just to double it hurt?
Yeah, that would be it. Yeah. Packers win by 16, and it's 32-16 to hit 48 and hit the over as well. Just really bone me.
That was 50 points, so that's a nice treat.
Yeah. Next up, Double Monday. We love Double Monday Night Football here, don't we? Monday Night Football 1. The Jets, 3-point underdogs on the road to Miami against the Dolphins. Over-unders 45. Basement clash in the AFC East. Who's getting a win? Maybe nobody, and it's a tie. We did not update the headline. So, yeah, it's a basement clash in the AFC East because that's got nothing to do with the Lions and the Ravens. What is going on here? I wrote a headline for that as well. Anyway, right, yeah, Dolphins, Jets, and both these teams suck. Which one sucks the least?
Someone's O's got to go.
Somebody's O has got to go in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are we thinking? Which team sucks the least?
I think the Jets suck the least just about. I think the Dolphins played pretty hard against the Bills last week, but ultimately came as short as you might expect. Obviously, they did cover, but just about. Charlie's still furious about that one, as you can tell. I don't want to say the Dolphins are going to down tools, because I don't think they are. I think they've shown they're willing to play for the coach and they want to fight for the coach. I just think the Jets are much more due a win with how they've played this season. They could have won against the Bucs. They could have won against the Steelers. You know, we'll see if Justin Fields is back. But I'm not sure it makes a huge difference in their win chances. You okay? Yeah, so I think I did struggle to pick this one, but ultimately just give me the Jets plus the points in, I think, what's probably going to be not a very good game of football.
Yeah, I struggle with this one as well. I think I may have gone the Jets, but that's probably because I like the Jets a little bit more. But yeah, I can see it going either way. I think that it feels like the Dolphins are like a dual win, where it just feels like they'll win just to keep this sadness going, and not just like, okay, let's just end this experiment right now. Let's lose a couple of games and let's start again. I feel like it's going to go on a little bit, and we'll see how it goes on. Obviously, Justin Fields still in the concussion protocol, even though he's practicing tomorrow or today. What day is it today? Thursday, yeah. So he's practicing today. I think that could be big, just because how bad this Dolphins defense is. That's where they spent majority of the, quite a lot of the money is on that defensive line, and it's been a shambles. But vice versa, the Jets, where we all came in this year thinking that defense was going to carry on how it has the last few years, it's not been there, and that's not helped out when you've got an offense which is, it's probably a year or two away before it gets to where it needs to get, especially with the weapons. Yet you've got Garrett Wilson, you got Brees Hall, you got Braylon Allen, but you haven't got that second, third wide receiver to help out and a rookie tight end. So I think that defense does need to step up, and this is a game to do it. There's going to be interception chances. That's how Tua's been playing this year. I think especially that last one. I don't know if you saw the press conference, and there's been a few rumors coming out that was basically saying, yeah, that was on Tua, that one, not hiding as there has been the last few years. So there's definitely more fractions in the Dolphins changing room. But it's a Monday night. It's in Miami. I can see them sneaking, being a horrible 12-9 kind of victory where it's a bit of putrid and yeah, that's what happens. But Paul's disagreed.
Well, let's not wish for that when someone's on the over. Jets, Dolphins again. Yeah. Dolphins have won 9 in a row at home against the Jets. That's one of them division records that I've double checked. What is going on with the screen? That's one of those division matchup and quicks. I've double checked. Miami have won 9 in a row at home against the Dolphins. I'm expecting it to continue. I think the Dolphins are going to get a win. Weirdly, both teams kind of fought, because for 3 quarters the Jets weren't great against the Bucs, and then really showed up in the 4th quarter, almost stole the win. And I thought the Dolphins, for the vast majority of that game, played really, really well. And yeah, a play here, a play there. They might have pulled off an upset against the Bills, but they fought and they played for McDaniel a bit. So some of that stuff that I think I like for both. I'm going to go on the over here, over 45. One of these Monday night games is going to be terrible, and one of them is going to be good. I think I'm banking that this is the good one, because we'll get to the next one, and I'll tell you why I'm going to hate watching that. But 6 of the last 7 Jets road games have hit the over. The last 7 Dolphins home games have gone over. I'm just going to go over. Give me the points. Now we've got going a bit offensive the last 2 games. I think the Jets, even if Justin Fields doesn't make it out of concussion protocol, I think he will do by Monday. I think Tyrod Taylor can do enough to get you some points. So, 45, 10-11. That's where I'm at. Byron, I assume it's you next.
Yeah. Struggled finding a bet for this one that I love, truthfully. With it being a Monday game, we looked the lines yesterday. It was kind of a tough one to find a market I really love. But Jalen Waddle has only got 1 touchdown in 6 games against the Jets in his career. He gets 1 touchdown every 3 games otherwise. So I've gone Jalen Waddle to correct that. 6-4. Not the longest shot, but I think I kind of agree. There will be points in this game. And yeah, Jalen Waddle end-time touchdown, 6-4 for me.
Yeah, and I've got Braylon Allen anytime touchdown scorer at 3-2. I feel like he's getting more involved, and I think they do need to get more of it. Obviously, Brees Hall, a couple of years ago, getting the Defensive Rookie of the Year. He started off the first game. It was like, wow, he's got that burst back. But again, I feel like they need to mix it up and get them both in. And against, like I mentioned, this Dolphins defensive front, which is not doing much, get them both involved. Try and get back to what you drafted your O-line to do, was to run down these teams. So yeah, Braylon Allen, anytime touchdown at 3-2. Can't hear you, Paul.
I rarely put myself on mute, and I did that. Second Monday Night Football game. And this is the exact reason why we should not have double Monday Night Football. Bengals at the Broncos. Bengals 7-point underdogs. Over-unders 44. Browning in the saddle again and faces a bucking Bronco D. Denver defense has not hit the heights of last season as yet, but will a match up against the turnover-heavy Bengals be the spark for dominance again? We have the TV companies have the networks have the flex element. They can flex so many games, but that's obviously they hold it or it's limited to later in the season. These are the kind of situations where we've got an 0-3 matchup in Jets Dolphins, and then the Bengals without Joe Burrow against the Broncos. This is where they should be able to use the flexes. Really. I mean, I don't care if they give them less than a week's notice. Get these fucking games out of prime time. How are you seeing Bengals and Broncos going, guys?
Man of the people, Paul. All about the fans.
Give me Jamie, so give me death. Go on. So.
Yeah, I'm going Broncos. I think I was. Well, again, when you look at the Bengals game, I think that got out of hand, and Browning had a bad game, but there was only one, especially near the end, there's a few bad ones when they were chasing the game. Some of them interceptions were just incredible defensive plays by the Vikings. So, I think it's tricky because obviously, I just think back at the Jameis game, just mentioning Jameis when the Browns played the Broncos last year, and he went nuts. I think that was a Monday Night Football. So hopefully it's something similar. But no, I think the Broncos, they've got something to prove here. Being 1-2, they really need to get back on track at 2-2, especially how the Chargers have been playing. And we all know the Chiefs are going to come back at some point. So I think this is a huge game against an AFC. It could be a wild card contender if the Bengals can stay, keep in touch with these teams. Because I think if they lose this, could drop to the 1-3, they've lost to a few contenders. I think it's going to be a struggle. So I think Denver's defenses need to step up. I think they played better last week, but they are targeting Satan a lot more. I don't know if you've noticed with teams as well. So they're not as scared as much. So I wonder if we'll see some interesting matchups with Chase versus Satan.
Excellent. So just before we do talk about the game in a little bit more detail, if you're watching on YouTube, you see that Charlie has joined us. A very rare live podcast appearance from Charlie. As this goes out Friday morning, is this Charlie apologising for going 0-14 or coming back at the haters who said that he couldn't pick a game now that he's broke the streak?
Streak is broken, yeah. Charlie 1-13, I think, is what we're going to be saying, yeah. And I think he's been a bit starved of attention because he's been a bit barky, so he's come up for a little puddle mid-podcast.
The only worry I have for Charlie's pick is that, I know again at this point, if you're watching and listening to this, the game has already happened. All three of us picked the Seahawks ATS, and I bet the Seahawks before I saw Charlie's pick. So those aren't good signs.
Yeah, I did do a little research on that. Sorry, we have gone a bit off Bengals Broncos, but it's kind of what the game is.
We don't want to talk about this game.
Yeah, this season, in games that we have all unanimously picked, we are 3-7.
Oh no!
And Charlie is 0-13. So,
yeah. Okay, let's just talk about our bets on this one. So yeah, if you give me Jake Browning in prime time, fuck you. Broncos -7. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm gone Bo Nix, 250 plus passing yards at nearly 2-1, 37-20 is the technical line. The Bengals have given up 250 yards twice already this season to Trevor Lawrence and Joe Flacco. So, yeah, Bo Nix can do it. He needs to get a put right game. Let's get Marvin Mims. Let's get Troy Franklin going deep downfield on this Bengals. rancid defense.
And if you add on Cortland Sutton to that as well, Baron, that'd be very handy. So I've got Cortland Sutton 100 plus receiving yards and anytime touchdown. He got over 100 yards in, I think it was week 1. So I think he's due again against a putrid Bengals defense. So hopefully he goes off on this team and gets some a nice 11-2 bet for a big Cortland Sutton game.
Excellent. Just to show that I'm not just mean about Jake Browning, just so a bit of some stats. Broncos have won 6 straight at home, going 5-1 ATS. I've got a number 1 for you as well.
Ooh, here we go.
Number 1.
So from 2006 to 2021, the Bengals are actually 5-0 against the spread in 5 games in Denver. So they've gone 5-0 ATS against the Broncos in Denver. The last time the Bengals failed to cover in Denver was the 21st of September, 1997. The UK number 1 was...
What was the date? Sorry, 97?
21st of September, 97.
Is it My Heart Will Go On, Celine Dion?
It is not. I feel like that might feel like... It was Titanic 97. I feel like Titanic might have been 96.
You could be right.
I'll give you a clue. It was linked to a very, very large news story and event. It's more event than news story, I guess.
The death of Princess Diana was not an event then.
So it was Elton John. Yeah.
It's Elton John, Candle in the Wind.
Oh, because of the funeral is the event, not the death of.
Well, definitely.
Yeah.
Candle in the Wind was number 1 for like 2 or 3 weeks at that time. Yeah. So yes, Elton John, Candle in the Wind. Great pull though, to get that. Just royal family murdering people. Anyway, before we get cancelled for that, let's move on. We've got our full draft, allegedly. We've got our full draft where we try and pick 1 over 1 under, 1 favourite, 1 underdog from the NFL slate. We've not been great so far. Our record, Byron's leading the way 6-6. We've got our guests next at 5-6 and a push. Me and Joe languishing behind at 4-8. We've got our guest, with no guest on the recording. So we've had Jenny take part in our 4-fold challenge. A very well thought out 4-fold, I think. That one, we'll get to that as we go through. But Joe, you have the number 1 pick this week. Kick us off.
Yeah, I'll go for a game we haven't talked about. I'm going to go Rams -3.5 at home against the Colts. The number, I believe they've gone into the top 10 now of our power rankings, Colts. I struggled with favourites this week, actually. I thought the favourites was a lot harder. So, I didn't have too many, and this was probably my favourite. So I thought I would snap that up as early as possible. I think the Rams are just the better team. I think this is the first team. When you look at the Colts record, and I know they beat the Broncos, but I think the Rams are one of the top teams. And I think obviously losing last week just to the Eagles, I think they're ready for a bounce back, being at home. I think they're actually going to test this team, going to test that defense maybe for the first time this year. And I know the Colts are missing 1 or 2 players as well. I think this could be, I did like the over as well, which what Jenny's picked. I'm going to go the Rams winning a high scoring game. 3.5.
Excellent. Byron?
Ooh, a tough one this week, I think. But I'm going to take my underdog on the road, heading into San Francisco. The underrated perennially on this show, Jacksonville Jaguars, +3 at the 49ers.
I thought you just literally went like Trevor Lawrence.
Well, Trevor Lawrence hasn't had a great start to the season, but he'll be fine this week.
Are you
know what was about Purdy being back or anything?
No, I think that might be a downgrade. Kyle Shanahan's boy, Mac Jones, as 2-0, getting Ricky Pearsall up and running. I think the biggest thing is, never mind Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy is an upgrade on Mac Jones, obviously. I think anybody to Nick Bosa is a downgrade, though. Nick Bosa to whomever is going to fill his spot is a big, big downgrade on a team that needs the big hitters on defense because it's a young group. It's a very unproven group. And, I am making that face at Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has been far from perfect this year, but his receivers have let him down quite a bit with drops, especially weirdly Brian Thomas, who has gone from looking like one of the best receivers in the league to looking like he's battling with Diami Brown to be the Jags' #1 receiver, which is crazy. I just think this is a bit of a get right for Jacksonville's offense against the 49ers defense that I worry is going to struggle to hold up against kind of a versatile attack of Jacksonville. And I love them being 3-point underdogs here. I think they're going to win outright, actually.
Weirdly, it's worrying signs already for the 49ers. We talked about their injuries on the review, or Joe did. And when you already look at the injury report, if you look at it on ESPN, the list of 49ers injuries doesn't fit on the screen.
Yeah.
It's week 4. Pearsall's also Pearsall not practiced. He didn't practice Wednesday yesterday. Don't know if he has today as yet.
I think what I've seen with Pearsall, they said he's playing.
Okay. And it's just not good. Not good. That's 17, 18 names on that list, I think. Crazy. It's week 4. Cool. Right. So you've got a favourite and an underdog. So I've got 2, and I should be prepared. But I was too busy looking at the 49ers injury list. I've got two unders. One of them is opposing Jenny's pick, so I won't go for that one. Just to move things on quickly, I'll take Jags 49ers under. So I think it's a bit of a boosted number. So it's under 47. I think it's a bit of a boosted number with Purdy expected to be back. I think you might just take him a little while to get going. Jags have been decent, especially against the run so far. So I'm expecting it to be kind of low scoring early and long enough for the under to hit. Basically, I think 47 is just too many. I feel like if that's Mac Jones, it's more like 41, 42, right? So, and like I said, I just think Purdy might just take a little bit just to get going.
I really wanted that one. That's what I was hoping would swing back round.
Yeah. So, I'll crack that open. And then I will take we both took favorite. I'll take my favorite. And I'm surprised this wasn't the first one to go. I'm going to take the Detroit Lions -9. Browns defense, we're saying that they are the best in the NFL. Well, statistically, they are. They're only giving up 204 yards per game, even despite giving up 40 points against the Ravens. They played 3 offenses as well that we're all expecting to be or have been pretty good. They played the Bengals with Joe Burrow, kind of kept them, obviously, locked down. The Ravens, where they gave up 40, and the Packers kept them to 10. However, this Browns defense on the road is horrible. For as good as they are at home, they are horrible on the road. So in their last 10 road games, the Browns are giving up 29 points per game on the road. The Lions at home in the last 10 games, they're averaging 37 points a game in the last 10 games. And the Lions kill the Browns here. I think the Lions can put up 50 again. In that spat, why do the Lions always seem to score 52 points as well? And it's 3 times in the last 10 home games they've scored 52 points. That's just a weird quirk of scoring, isn't it? Think about all the different ways to get to 52 as well. Anyway, I think the Lions kill the Browns here. I think it's just been a bit of an overreaction to how good the Browns are defensively. They are just really good at home. They're awful on the road. Give me the Lions -9. I think this one's over before halftime.
I am going to go back to Dublin, the Emerald Isle. I'm going to go over 41 Vikings Steelers. Vikings could put up points. 2 out of 3 have gone over this year already. Jordan Addison's back. Darasaw's back. Ryan Kelly's back. Yeah, I think it gets 41. We'll see, hopefully a fast track as well for Jordan Addison.
He needs to be careful. He needs to stay within limits.
Yeah, doesn't he just?
Oh, wait, was he speeding or DUI?
I believe he was speeding. It might have been both, though.
Was he speeding or DUI? Or speeding and a DUI?
I think it was. Yeah.
Joe, you've got 2.
Yeah. Oh, struggling now. You took the one I really wanted, which I didn't think would go. I really don't know what to go. Okay, I'm going to go my underdog. I'm going to take the Bears. I was surprised the Bears are +1.
Trap. It's a trap.
I know. I've actually got quite a few underdogs, which I like this week. I like the underdogs more than the favourites. So I'm going the Bears +1. Why not? We'll see if Tom Brady actually has see how much information he's given
from last week. Yeah,
from last week.
Throw deep.
Sorry,
just throw deep. I mean, I don't think you need Tom Brady to read that to you.
I don't know if this is just like the Dallas effect, but from like crushing and then just holding back, which might be the right thing to do to there. But obviously that Raiders defense has been horrible as well. Got shredded on the ground by the Commanders last week. I expected Ben Johnson to fully take advantage of it and kill him with like play action deep shots. So yeah, I think it's a trap. I just stayed away from it. Weirdly, if it was the Bears minus, that probably may have been my favorite to take, but it's just a try. It's funky. Something's not right. Why are the Bears 1 point underdogs? Doesn't feel right.
No. Oh, okay. And then, I'm going to go my under. This is a gamble. I don't like any of the unders now. I'm going to go Saints.
When we do a gambling show for 3 hours a week, every week.
Yeah, good point. I'm going to go Saints Bills under 48. I don't think the Saints are going to score that many points. And I think the Bills are going to run it a lot. And it's going to be like 30-10, something like that. So under 40.
I'm the only one on our ATS that's got the Saints, which is probably good news for you too, because again, that probably means the Bills will cover. Whereas if I'd have gone the Bills, then the Saints would have found a way to cover. It's loads of points, 16.5, isn't it? I think you might be right, because Saints really, really struggling to sort of do much on offense, aren't they?
Byron?
Yep. I'm going to go under 45 in the Commanders-Falcons game. Falcons have gone under in all 3 of their games this season. Commanders have gone under in 2 of their games this season. Jane Daniels may well be back, but yeah, I think 45 isn't a crazy line. What is a crazy stat? I think Michael Penix has only started 6 games in the NFL so far. Michael Penix is 0-4 when the opponent scores over 7 points.
Yeah, I was waiting to bring that up, but yeah, you beat me to it. Crazy.
Won 34-7 and won 22-6. Everything else has been a defeat. That is not great, because is that a new soundbite?
Sorry, it's just the background.
Not familiar with that one, yeah.
You've been murdered in the kitchen, Joe. Is that what that?
I thought it was the Falcons GM when they realised what they gave up to take a second pass rusher when they've got that stat with their quarterback. Just realised in the kitchen. But yeah, I think Commanders take care of business here. I was really tempted to take the Falcons as just a bounce back, but you know what? They've just been so underwhelming again in that scoring opportunities. So I just couldn't really do it. Even if Mariota starts, I think it will be Jaden Daniels, but I'm not 100% sure. But either way, yeah, give me the under 45, whoever starts at quarterback.
So I've got the over and an underdog to take. You've both taken your underdog, so I'll stew on it because I'm so tempted to take the Saints. But I'll go my over. I've got two overs games that I've bet. I'll just go Ravens Chiefs over 48.5. They're the 2 overs I've picked out this week, and I've bet them, so I might as well get hurt twice. I'll do Ravens and Chiefs over 48.5. And then my underdog, it's so many points. It's so many points. I'll say this. I'm not going to take it, but I'll say this: that the Bills are 1-7 ATS in their last 8 home games where they've been a 10+ point favorite. When they're a massive favorite, they just fuck around and mess about. So I'm so tempted to take the Saints, but I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, the Panthers came through as an underdog last week, beating the Falcons 0. 5.5 point underdogs again, just like they were last week. My basis for this one is the Patriots just don't score points. The Patriots just don't score points at home as well. And they've gone, I wish I had the number 1 for this as well. The Patriots, they've gone 27 straight home games without getting to 30 points. And in that span, only went over 25 3 times. They're 4-14-2 against the spread in the last 20 home games. Patriots have been abysmal at home. Recent history. I don't think the Panthers are going to be great on the road, to be honest, but I just think the Patriots are going to score enough points to beat the Panthers by 6, is kind of my logic on it. So I'll take the Panthers plus 5.5.
Yeah, I struggled with that game because I don't really want to bet on either of them. What have I got? The favorite Philadelphia Eagles, please. Minus 3.5 going to Tampa. I don't care how hot it is.
And Joe, you need an over.
Please calm down the banshee in the kitchen.
Yeah. So. Sorry, just doing all the graphics. You know what, Paul? Yours is. I actually really like your 4-4. At least two of them I really wanted. So
Honestly, that fills me with confidence that I hit the 4-4, but it really doesn't.
No, since I am 4-8, it might work out. I'm not happy with any of these overs. You know what? No, I don't want to go there. Why am I doing that?
This is great in real time, isn't it?
I know. You know what? I'm just going to do what I originally said. I'm going to go with what Jenny. I'm going to agree with Jenny. I'm going to go Colts, Rams over 49.5 and double up on that game. I was tempted to go with Chargers, Giants, and then I was like, no, I can't do that.
Jackson down.
Yeah, against the best defense in the league. And we know how that worked out last week.
All right. Cool. So there are 4 folds in. Jenny's it's the Eagles minus 3.5, if you get a chance to update that, Joe. Against the Bucks. Her underdog, she's gone for the Tennessee Titans against the Texans. I really like this shout as well. The Texans are miserable. They are awful. And we kind of thought, oh, maybe it was the Titans last week as an underdog against the Colts. They're getting +7 here against the Texans. Cam Ward, they're going to win a game at some point. And
the Texans or the Titans?
Well, this is another 0-3 face-off. But the Texans have been miserable, particularly on offense. I really like that. Over Colts, Rams, as you mentioned, and under Browns, Lions. I think, again, the feeling is that Lions one-sided, shellacking. Browns not really doing anything. So, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. That was gonna be my under, but you scared me away from it when you gave your analysis of the Browns away from home
and the Lions at home. I mean, maybe they'll just cancel each other out and it'll be 13-0 the Lions as well. We'll see. So yeah, 4-4. Hopefully one of us hits it this week, and we certainly do better than we've been doing so far. So let's flip over to our ATS picks then to end the show. Charlie's getting real mouthy about picking one game right.
Which at the time he's been mouthy has yet to be decided if he's right.
Excellent. Let's shift across to our ATS picks. Jesus Christ. What? Guys, we've got to get it together. What are we doing?
I'm not used to sharing the screen because Joe's the one who does it. I'm just sharing the screen.
What are we doing? Anyway,
it's there now.
Hopefully the Seahawks have covered the -1.5 against the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football, and then we're all right. And Charlie the dog has broke his miserable run. I'm on the Steelers. We've mentioned already Joe Byron on the Vikings. Commanders, we just touched on that game a little bit there. Yeah, me and Byron riding on the Commanders. Jaden Downs back, although McLaurin and Krosky Merritt have both flagged on the injury report. Possibly both also might miss I think it's trending that they're both going to miss the game.
The Terry McLaurin thing stinks.
Yeah.
He has a suspected quad injury, but he's getting a second opinion. Who are you hanging out with, Joe? Goodness me. That is incredible. Yeah, Terry McLaurin's getting a second opinion despite already speaking to the leading core doctor already, or muscle. I don't know exactly what, but it was the leading person was the quote in the tweet. Doesn't bode well to me. I just... You see with these injuries where you get second opinions and such, and I don't think it ever ends well. And I mean, it's good if you bet on the under, though, I would hope.
Yeah, for sure. As just mentioned, I'm on the Saints +16.5. That is with no confidence in the New Orleans Saints. That is just more the Bills' history of pissing around at home as a big favourite. We're all on the Lions, -9. Two of us, me and Joe, on the Panthers. All on the Chargers. So just like Jackson Dart, which mentioned it, in for Russell Wilson. Some hope for the Giants, maybe. Maybe that might not be the best game to come into, as Joe mentioned, playing against the best defense in the NFL. But then we're going to see something a little bit more. I think Malik Neighbors is going to be happy.
If Malik Neighbors plays, Malik Neighbors is also injured and didn't practice yesterday. So very rough start for Jackson Dart, potentially, if not Malik Neighbors. Hopefully he's fit and ready to go, though. I think he'll give a bit of excitement. I wonder, do you think there's been any kind of, I'm not going to say force his hand, but do you think the success of Danny Dimes has maybe thought Brian Dable is like, I better get my guy out here quick because this is not a good narrative that the guy we couldn't wait to get rid of is the best quarterback in the league?
Could be, maybe. I don't know if there's just maybe a bit of pressure from ownership as well around like what we're doing, just fucking around with Russell Wilson, get the kid in, see what he can do, sort of thing. My worry is that they've gone too early and they might ruin him because I guess there's no good point in the Giants season maybe because they're just the games are just so difficult. I kind of thought maybe if we put him for the last 4 or 5 games, things are a bit different then. Whereas this hasn't even got close to the bottom of how bad it can get, and that's weird. It's 0-3. Like, no team in New Jersey can get a win at the minute. The Giants are 0-3, the Jets are 0-3. Europe are about to go into New York and beat the fuck out of America in the Ryder Cup this weekend on Long Island. So, nothing good happening in the New York, New Jersey area, really.
There will be one good thing in the New Jersey area this week, though. I wanted to shout this out on our last extra show we did, our power ranking show, but I didn't. But I have backed Defensive Player of the Year in season now. Derwin James, 150-1. He's now down to 100-1. He's playing like the best DB in football to start the year. Jim Harbaugh is Jim Harbaugh. He gave roughly like a 3-minute monologue about how great Derwin James is, his best DB he's ever been around, might be the best football player he's ever been around. He's playing out of his skin. He's playing the best football of his career. I don't think we've got a shining pass rusher just yet in terms of like dominating the standings. Like Mike Parsons will be there, Aiden Hutchins will be thereabouts, but I think he's well worth a bet, even 100-1, which he still is. So I just wanted to give Derwin James a shout out and get that bet on the record on the show.
Excellent. Good stuff. Eagles, me, Byron on the Eagles. Joe thinks the Bucs will cover. Me and Joe on the Titans. Byron thinks that the Texans are going to finally get a win and also cover 7 points. All on the Rams, which means another Danny Dimes masterclass is incoming. And he's going to break and hold more Colts records that Peyton Manning doesn't by the end of the week. Me and Byron on the Jags +3 against the Niners. Ravens we've talked about. All on the Chicago Bears, which again is worrying if you're a Chicago Bears fan, as 1-point underdogs against the Raiders. All on the Packers, which is hopefully good for us as Dallas Cowboys fans. All on the Broncos, and just me on the Miami Dolphins. That is our week 4 preview in the books. Great chatting through. No guest this week, but we've got one next week. Phil Marsh from Huddle UK, the website I do the Cowboys articles for, is coming on to talk some Chargers. So will the Chargers be 4-0, or are they going to be on the end of a Jackson Dart upset? We'll find out. Check out our Fantasy Game Day 10-minute tips that will be available on Saturday and on all your podcast platforms and live on X at some point on Sunday afternoon. I think 1 p.m. UK time is what the time I'm going for that. So make sure you get our tips for that. And then, follow along. Good teams and great teams cover. Available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Podbean, Overcast, YouTube as well if you want to see our faces. And follow us, GTW_GTC on Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. More YouTube shorts are going up, more videos on Instagram. And we're utilising the TikTok finally as well, which is where you can get your Charlie picks. So until the review and until Fantasy Game Day 10 minutes tips, we'll see you then.